Hey everyone, welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, your home for the freshest updates, the most detailed breakdowns, and all the insider buzz surrounding our beloved Detroit Lions. Today, I've got something that's been brewing behind the scenes, something that could reshape the foundation of our offensive line for years to come. This isn't just another roster move discussion. This is about the future architecture of what makes our offense tick. And trust me, you're going to want to hear every single detail because the implications are massive for where this franchise is headed. So here's the thing about building a championship contender in the NFL. You don't just focus on today. You don't just celebrate the wins we're stacking up right now without thinking about tomorrow. The really smart organizations, the ones that sustain success over decades, they're always thinking 3, 4, 5 moves ahead. They're planting seeds while everyone else is just admiring the flowers. And that's exactly what Brad Holmes and this Lions front office have been doing, especially when it comes to one particular position group that doesn't always get the headlines, but absolutely controls our destiny every single Sunday. Our offensive line has been the backbone of everything we do. When Jared Goff has time in the pocket, when David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are running through massive holes, when we're controlling the clock and imposing our will on defenses, it all starts up front. We've got one of the most dominant units in football right now, and a huge part of that success comes from stability, from continuity, from having guys who know each other's tendencies and can operate like a well-oiled machine. But here's what most people aren't talking about enough, and this is where things get really interesting for us as Lions fans who care about the long-term trajectory of this team. About 11 months ago, Brad Holmes said something that really stuck with me. He compared our offensive line to a garden that always needs to be watered. You can't just plant it once and walk away. You've got to tend to it constantly, nurture it, make sure it's getting everything it needs to thrive. And Holmes hasn't just talked about it, he's backed it up with real action. Look at what he's done in the draft over the last couple of years. He's selected 2 offensive linemen in each of the last 2 drafts, constantly replenishing that talent pool, making sure we've got depth and young guys developing behind our established starters. That philosophy isn't going away anytime soon. In fact, it's about to become even more critical as we head into the 2025 offseason and start looking toward 2026. There are some significant questions looming on the horizon, questions about the future of certain positions along that offensive line. We know that center Frank Ragnow isn't going to play forever, and at some point the organization is going to need to identify and develop his long-term replacement. But there's another position that's quietly becoming an even more immediate concern, one that could force the Lions to make some fascinating strategic decisions that might surprise a lot of people. Let me paint the picture for you. We've got Penei Sewell on the right side, absolutely dominating. The man has been playing at an all-pro level, possibly the best offensive lineman in all of football this season. His combination of power, athleticism, and technical refinement is just off the charts. Then on the left side, we've got Taylor Decker, our anchor, our veteran leader, the guy who's been protecting the blind side for years now. Decker has been everything you want in a franchise left tackle. Reliable, tough, smart, a true professional who shows up and does his job at a high level week after week. But here's where the story takes a turn, and this is the part that every Lions fan needs to be paying attention to because it's going to shape our draft strategy and possibly lead to some major changes in how our offensive line is structured. Taylor Decker is getting closer to the end of his career. That's not speculation, that's just reality. He's been in the league for a while now, he's taken his share of hits, and recently he confirmed something that sent ripples through the organization and should be on every fan's radar. Decker has openly stated that he will consider retirement after this season ends. Now let me be clear about something. Even if Decker decides to come back for another year, and there's certainly a chance he does, especially if we make a deep playoff run and he wants to chase another shot at glory, the clock is ticking. The Lions can't afford to wait until the last minute to figure out their succession plan. They need to be proactive, They need to have options in place, and they need to start thinking seriously about how they're going to replace one of the most important positions on the entire roster. This is where Brad Holmes's garden metaphor becomes so relevant, because you don't wait until a plant dies to start growing its replacement. You start that process early, so there's no gap in production. So what does that mean for the Lions heading into the draft? Well, offensive tackle is now firmly planted on the radar for that first-round pick in April. We're talking about a potential top 20 selection being used to secure the future at that crucial position. And here's where things get really intriguing, because there are multiple ways the Lions could approach this depending on what they value most and what opportunities present themselves. According to recent mock drafts from some of the most respected analysts in the industry, there's one name that keeps popping up in connection with Detroit: Francis Mauigoa out of Miami. This kid has been absolutely exceptional at the college level. Among all FBS tackles, he ranks 4th in overall grade and owns the 3rd best pass-blocking grade. Those aren't just good numbers, those are elite numbers that suggest he's got the tools to step in and contribute at the NFL level relatively quickly. Now here's what makes this situation even more fascinating from a strategic standpoint. Mauigoa plays right tackle in college, just like Penei Sewell did at Oregon. And that creates an interesting wrinkle in how the Lions might structure things going forward. See, when Detroit drafted Sewell, he was a dominant left tackle in college, one of the best prospects at that position we'd seen in years. But the Lions decided to move him to the right side, partly because they already had Decker entrenched on the left, and partly because Sewell's skill set translated beautifully to either spot. We've actually seen Sewell play left tackle in the NFL already. When Decker missed time early in the 2021 season with a hand injury, Sewell started his career with 8 games on the left side. He also filled in there for a couple games in 2023 when Decker was out. So we know he can do it, we know he's comfortable there, and we know he was elite at that position in college. But here's the thing that's really interesting. Over the last 2 seasons, when Decker has missed a total of 5 games, the Lions have kept Sewell at right tackle rather than sliding him over. That tells us something about how they view the position and possibly about their long-term planning. There are a couple of ways to interpret that decision. Maybe the coaching staff feels like Sewell has become so dominant on the right side that they don't want to disrupt that, even temporarily. Maybe they want to develop depth at left tackle with other guys on the roster getting reps there. Or maybe, and this is the really intriguing possibility, they're already thinking about a future where Sewell stays at right tackle permanently and they bring in a fresh young talent to develop at left tackle, creating a bookend duo that could anchor the line for the next decade. If the Lions were to draft someone like Mauigoa, they'd have options. They could keep Sewell where he is and develop Mauigoa on the left side, giving him time to learn and adjust to the NFL game. Or, and this is where it gets really creative, they could move Sewell back to left tackle, where he was so dominant in college, and let Mauigoa develop on the right side, where he's most comfortable. Think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and how they handled Tristan Wirfs, moving him around to maximize the talent on their offensive line. The Lions have that same kind of flexibility with Sewell's versatility. The beauty of having a player like Penei Sewell is that he gives you so many options. He's not locked into one spot. He's proven he can excel anywhere across the line. And that means the Lions can make decisions based purely on what's best for the overall unit rather than being forced into a corner. If they believe Mauigoa or whoever they draft is going to be better suited for the right side long term, they can make that move without worrying about creating a weak spot. What really excites me about this whole situation is that it shows the Lions are thinking like a championship organization. They're not panicking, they're not scrambling to fill holes at the last second. They're planning ahead and setting themselves up for sustained success. Even if Decker plays another year or two, having a young tackle developing in the system means there's no drop-off when he does eventually hang up the cleats. That continuity is absolutely crucial for an offense that relies so heavily on controlling the line of scrimmage And let's talk about what this means for our offense moving forward. We've built an identity around being physical, being able to run the ball when we want to, protecting our quarterback, and wearing down defenses over 4 quarters. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because we've invested heavily in the offensive line, and we've got elite talent up front. Maintaining that standard has to be a priority, and that means constantly replenishing the talent pool even when things are going well. The 2026 draft is still a ways off, but it's never too early to start thinking about how the Lions might approach it. We're in a really interesting position as a franchise right now. We're winning, we're competitive, we've got a roster loaded with talent, and we're building something special. But the teams that stay at the top are the ones that keep drafting well, even when they're picking late in rounds. They identify needs before they become critical, and they develop young players behind established veterans, so there's always someone ready to step up. Brad Holmes has shown he understands this better than most general managers around the league. His track record with offensive line picks has been outstanding. Sewell was a home run. The developmental guys he's brought in have provided quality depth, and now he's got another opportunity to secure the future at a premium position. Whether it's Maui Goa or someone else, you can bet the Lions will be doing their homework on every tackle prospect in this class, evaluating who fits their scheme, who has the right mentality, and who can step into this culture we've built and thrive. So here's where we are. Taylor Decker is considering retirement, which means the Lions need to start planning for life after their longtime left tackle. Offensive tackle will be a priority in the upcoming draft, possibly as early as the first round. The team has flexibility in how they structure things thanks to Penei Sewell's versatility. And Brad Holmes has shown he's committed to constantly watering that offensive line garden, making sure we've got fresh talent developing at all times. It's a fascinating situation that could have major implications for how our offense looks over the next several years. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about this whole situation? Are you comfortable with the Lions using a first-round pick on a tackle, even if Decker comes back for another season? Would you rather see them move Sewell to left tackle, or keep him where he's dominating on the right side? And who are some tackle prospects you've been watching that you think would fit well in Detroit? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I love hearing different perspectives on this stuff. If you enjoyed this breakdown and you want to stay on top of all the latest Lions news, rumors, and in-depth analysis, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We're here every single day bringing you the content you need to stay informed about your favorite team. Thanks for watching Lions News Fan Report, and I'll see you in the next one.